Hey, it's Clay. I'm doing Goosebumps. Welcome to Dead House because I like Goosebumps. So, yeah. Josh. First I called Josh, then I called Petey, but there was no sign of either of them. I ran down to the bottom of the driveway and peered into the car, but they weren't there. Mom and Dad were still inside talking with Mr. Dawes. I looked along the street in both directions, but there was no sign of them. Josh, hey Josh. Finally, Mom and Dad came hurrying out to the front door. Looking alarmed, I guess they heard my shouts. I can't find Josh or Petey, I yelled up from the street. Maybe they ran back. Dad shouted down to me. I headed up the driveway, kicking away dead leaves as I ran. It was sunny down on the street, but as soon as I entered our yard, it was back into the shade, and it was immediately cool again. Hey Josh, where are you? Why did I feel so scared? It was perfectly natural for Josh to wander off. He did it all the time. I ran full speed along the side of the house. Tall trees leaned over the house on the side, blocking out nearly all the sunlight. The backyard was bigger than I expected. A long rectangle that sloped gradually down to a wooden fence at the back. Just like the front, this yard was a mass of tall weeds poking up through a thick covering of brown leaves. A stone bird bath had toppled onto its side. Beyond it, I could see the side of the garage, a dark brick building that matched the house. Hey, Josh, he wasn't back there. I stopped and searched the ground for footprints or a sign that he had run through the thick leaves. Well, out of breath, Dad came jogging up to me. No sign of him. I said, surprised at how worried I felt. Did you check the car? He sounded more angry than worried. Yes, it was the first place I looked. I gave the backyard a last quick search. I don't believe Josh would just take off. I do, Dad said, rolling his eyes. You know your brother, when he doesn't get his way. Maybe he wants us to think he ran away from home. He frowned. Where is he? Mom asked as we returned to the front of the house. Dad and I both shrugged. Maybe he had made a friend and wandered off, Dad said. He raised a hand and scratched his curly brown hair. I could tell that he was starting to worry too. We've got to find him, Mom said, gazing down into the street. He doesn't know the neighborhood at all. He probably wandered off and got lost. Mr. Dawes locked the front door and stepped down onto the porch. Pocketing the key, he couldn't have gotten far, he said, giving Mom a reassuring smile. Let's drive around the block. I'm sure we'll find him. Mom shook her head and glanced nervously at Dad. I'll kill him, she muttered. Dad patted her on the shoulder. Mr. Dawes opened the trunk of the small Honda, pulled off his dark blazer, and tossed it inside. Then he took out a wide-brimmed black cowboy hat and put it on his head. Hey, that's quite a hat, Dad said, climbing into the front passenger seat. Keeps the sun away, Mr. Dawes said, sliding behind the wheel and slammed the car door. Mom and I got in the back. Glanced over at her. I saw that Mom was as worried as I was. We headed down the block in silence, all four of us staring at the car windows. The houses we passed all seemed old. Most of them were even bigger than our houses. All of them seemed to be in better condition, nicely painted with neat, well-trimmed lawns. I didn't see any people in the houses or yards, and there was no one on the street. It certainly was a quiet neighborhood, I thought, and shady. The houses all seemed to be surrounded by tall, leafy trees. The front yard we drove slowly past all seemed to be bathed in shade. The street was the only sunny place, a narrow gold ribbon that ran through the shadows on both sides. Maybe that's why it's called Dark Follows, I thought.